Good Tuesday evening. It's hockey night in Byron Center as your Catholic Central Cougars are back at it tonight for the third time in 5 days to start 2026 as they face off with the independent Sparta Spartans this evening at Southside Ice Arena. I'm Matt Gajtka. This is Cougar Puck Radio. Thank you so much for joining me once again as we are back home finally for Catholic Central. It's been a while since their 7-1 win against Midland Dow the weekend before, the Christmas break. Ever since then, Catholic Central has played 4 games all away from home, but they are unbeaten in those games. They're on a 2-0-2 run since a loss to Granville here at Southside. Overall, with a 14-8 goal differential, and the last time out on Saturday afternoon tilt against the Reiths Puffer Rockets in Muskegon, the Cougars came back from a 2-1 first period deficit to win that game 4-2. The top line was dominant in that game as they accounted for all 4 goals. Isaac Kappinga, the captain, scoring once, assisting on 3 others. So Kappinga jumping into the team co-scoring lead with that performance. He now has 4 goals, 7 assists for 11 total points on the season. Gage Potter got another goal, his 6th of the year, to tie him with Noah Onstad and Cooper Moss for the team lead. And Moss scored twice to break a bit of a scoring drought as last year's goal-scoring leader for Catholic Central got back on track in a big way, including a goal just 1 minute into that game, and he added one later in the second period as the Cougars pulled away and then locked it down as they killed off every Reiths Puffer Rockets power play. They had 4 of them, and they came in with a potent power play, but the Cougars and their goaltender Jacob Aaron were undaunted by that as they improved their record to 9-3-2. If you're saying what happened to that 8th win that we thought we got against Reiths Puffer, well, it became the 9th win because the Friday night game, which was a 3-3 tie at Griff's Ice House against OK Roo Division opponent Rockford, that has been declared a forfeit by the MHSAA because Rockford played too many games in 1 week. They ended up playing 4 games in a week, which is not allowed. And so the Cougars get another win. That's their 2nd win via forfeit this year. The first one coming against Ann Arbor Riverview Gabriel Richard in the opener here. They actually lost that game on the ice, but got the win due to forfeit, ineligible player for the Pioneers that night. This time, a tie becomes a win, but either way, no matter how you might slice it up or designate it, the Cougars have not lost since Granville shut them out 4-0 here on the Wednesday before Christmas break. So the Cougars are on a bit of a run. They're attracting attention across the state as well, as they're now being ranked in multiple D3 top 10 lists, top 15 lists that I've seen. Still waiting on that Michigan High School Hockey Hub first poll of the new year, but they have a chance of being in that one too. Of course, all that is just opinion and conjecture, and, well, in some ways just worth a grain of salt, but good to see that people are noticing the Cougars with 9 wins in their first 15 games and just 3 losses in their first, 14 games of 2025-26 under their new head coach, Kyle Marchand. Once again, the Cougars got a couple of assists from the blue line as well. Noah Onstad picking up a helper as he has 10 points on the year, just 1 off the team lead, co-held by Kappinga and Potter. And another great performance from Jacob Aaron between the pipes on Saturday, really over the entire weekend, as he boosts his save percentage to .910. Their opponent this evening is the Sparta Spartans, standing at 7-8-0 on the year for head coach Kevin Bormus. And they're 4-4-0 away from their home at Griff's Ice House at Belknap Park. This is an independent team, as I mentioned just a moment ago. So what that means is that they don't have a conference, so they play a varied schedule, and which includes Catholic Central for the first time in at least a couple of years. Last year, Sparta made it all the way to the D1 state semis. Time for the national anthem, though, from Southside. More on the opponent on the other side of this timeout on Cougar Puck Radio.
Exhibit the kind of sportsmanship and character that would be pleasing to you. Amen. We ask that you remain standing. The privilege of this event was made possible by those who have fought and continue to fight for the freedoms we enjoy. Let us now honor and respect remove your hats. All veterans, we encourage you to render the appropriate salute. And everyone able, please stand at attention, placing your hand over your heart as we play our national anthem.
As I was saying about the Sparta Spartans, last year they made it all the way to the state semis in D1, their first ever trip to the state tournament. They won the region by defeating Traverse City West and Mona Shores. Then they knocked out the Kalamazoo Eagles in the quarterfinals before they lost 8-0 to Detroit Catholic Central, the eventual state champs, and often state champs, in the semifinal round down at USA Hockey Arena in Plymouth. The Spartans were 14-11 last year in the regular season. I told you they're 7-8 this year so far. They're scoring 3.3 goals per game. They're allowing 3.3 goals per game. But unfortunately for them, they graduated 8 of their top 9 scorers from last year, and their starting goalie. But their goalie tonight, Robbie Park, who's been their primary starter this year, did get some action last season, and so the junior will oppose the Cougars' senior, Jacob Aaron, in the net-minding matchup. Their top returning scorer, Trevor Serba, has 16 goals, already one more than last year's total. And in their 5-3 win against Hudsonville this past Friday night, Harrison Smith scored a hat trick to boost his season total to 9. So the Spartans' top line, very potent. That's what the Cougars will have to look out for this evening as we're playing hockey at Southside. Catholic Central in the white alternate jerseys as the puck flipped in the air by Braden Schoenborn. Back in behind the Cougars' net as Pastelli makes a man miss, feeds it up to Carlander, who deflects it down to our left, and that'll go for an icing call with Schoenborn pursuing it. Both teams coming off wins, both teams feeling good about themselves because of that. Catholic Central now 3-1-1 in the OK-Roo division. They step out of the OK-Roo for a little while here. They've got this game. They've got a couple more out of conference before they get back to their rivals in a couple of weekends. Rare Tuesday night game as Onstadt shoots from the blue line. That's deflected off the skate of Schoonover. Right back out high in the slot. Onstadt pursuing. Flicked up into the bench inadvertently by Harrison Smith. So this Sparta team is a co-op team, including students from Comstock Park, Coopersville, North Point Christian, Northview, Kent City, and Lakeview. Harrison Smith, in fact, played for Kennewa Hills last year because he was part of that co-op, but Kennewa Hills is now a defunct program, so some of those players had to go elsewhere. But Smith, pretty prolific scorer at Kennewa Hills, 36 goals in 3 seasons. This is senior year, and like I was saying, he had a hat trick against Hudsonville the other night. The Cougars try to center it out in front, and it was taken away before it could get to Onstadt. Back come the Spartans now. It's Seitzma, shot from his off wing, and Jacob Aaron makes the first save of the game for either side, 90 seconds in. Cougars can't clear. Reed Bennett dumps it deep for Sparta. Sparta in the blue tops with the gray and the white trim, white helmets, white pants. Quite the color combo. Definitely a distinctive outfit for the visitors tonight. Casey Ten Harmsel cruising through center, 1-on-2. Cohen Potter joined him on the left side, but Ten Harmsel just trying to kill some time to allow his teammates to change. And mission accomplished, even though the puck's flipped back to Gevorkian, and Alex Gevorkian nearly gave it up at center. It's deflected into the near wing corner by Seitzma. Ari Seitzma trying to dig it away from Cooper Moss. Moss won that battle right to the front of the net, though. It scooted off the end boards somewhat wildly, and so Aaron melts it down. 14:53 to go in the opening period. Catholic Central here at home, 3-1, counting that opening night forfeit win. So if you want to be technical, if you're just talking about what happened on the ice, they're 2-2, losing to Granville and Gabriel Richard. Beating Midland Dow last time on this ice surface, though, 7-1, starting with 3 goals in the first period. That was that big day for Noah Berkmeyer and Levi Jensen. Both got their first varsity points. Berkmeyer scored twice. Kappinga steps in over the blue line, but the puck drifted away from him. Headman pass by Shane Bourne goes the distance. Icing back against the Spartans will drag the face-off to our left. The Cougars coached by Kyle Marchand. First season in charge, coming over after a couple of seasons as an assistant at Forest Hill Central. Marchand's career record now stands at 35-29-2 after Saturday's win at Reed's Puffer. Carlander wristing right off the face-off win, and he missed the target. Carson Carlander's been hot lately. Turned it back into the middle on the backhand behind his back, but looked like Heminger wasn't quite ready for that, and so Reed Bennett escapes to center for the Spartans. Aaron Clark back to take this. He didn't play against Hudsonville the other night. But Clark back in the lineup. 4 points from the blue line for the sophomore. Clears it around and ushered to center ice by Ian Mark, another former Kennewa Hills player. Into the middle, a backhand comes loose, and a save made by Aaron on the chance for Hugo Larondo, who attends Comstock Park High School. Hugo is senior, first year playing hockey. Not transfer student, sorry, exchange student from the country of Spain. Trevor Serba, the top gun for Sparta, takes the face-off against the top gun for Catholic Central, Isaac Kappinga. And the tie-up moves the puck to the near corner. Sparta looking to the front of the net where Serba went. Serba is a big body, 6'3", 210 pounds. Onstadt rifles it across, counterattack on for the Cougars. Berkmeyer bouncing it right to the front. And there's Robbie Park getting into the action for the first time. Jensen was hunting the rebound, but there was none. Both Jensen and Berkmeyer, 6'3" and above, both sophomores. Got a lot of runway ahead of them here at CC. Kappinga centering them now. By the way, should mention that the Cougars are missing one of their centermen. Brady Colnon is out due to illness tonight. He has 3 points on the year, all assists. So Kappinga double shifting in this moment between the two towering wingers. Pastelli tried to shoot toward the front. That was fended off by the Spartans, and the Cougars have to regroup at their own line. Morgan Pastelli, cross-ring pass. Potter off the bench. Welcome back, Potter, I suppose. Cohen Potter digging in behind the Sparta goal. Takes a look, lassos the puck, feeds it out to Pastelli. He tries to get it through, but it's blocked out high by Serba, and just poked out over the blue line. Austin Schoonover tried to knock it into the Cougars' end. That was defended well by Onstadt. No icing as the Spartans play the puck in front of the goal line. Serba lobs it. That's behind Schoonover. The puck just died there in neutral ice. Weston Scott restarts it for Sparta. Jack Reynolds broke it up just beyond the red line, and the chase is on. The Spartans changing. Some miscommunication back there, but Quinn Fox ended up taking it away. Or pardon, that was Schoonover. Now it's Fox. Bumping it right by the forward-checking Cohen Potter, who always brings the energy, the junior. Ten Harmsel knocks it down the wall behind his goal to his defense partner Gevorkian. Up the near side to Reynolds, and systematically, Cohen Potter backhands through center. Whacked at one-handedly by Caleb McLean, who heads off the ice for a line change. 5 minutes into this game. No goals on the board yet. Cougars and Spartans. Not a matchup we see that much. This is fun change-up. Also, fun to be playing on a Tuesday night. Most of our weekday games are on Wednesdays. Kappinga gets around the edge. Good move to the backhand. Couldn't quite turn it over. Shot toward the front. Loose in the crease. And Moss couldn't find it to pop it home. as the Spartans were scrambling. Kapinga wanted to try the backhand, but it drifted away from him. Then he simply turned and flung it toward the net, and it caused some chaos. Almost the really good kind of chaos for Catholic Central. Cleared off the window by the Spartans. Gage Potter shoots in. Gage, the freshman, out there with Moss and Kapinga right now. The Cougars line that produced 4 goals the other afternoon. Onstad in front of his own net. Pursued hard, but makes a great pass up the near side to Gage Potter, who has time and space. He rifles it in. Parker Moore joins the forward check along with Jackson Dozema over there on the puck on the far side. Carlander tried to give it to Moore, but the pass went awry. Moore off the near wall. Dozema, the senior, chasing 8 assists on the season now for Dozema. Got a couple against Rockford on Friday night in that 3-3 tie. Heminger has a look. Speeds it across. Onstad knocks it behind the goal. Turned by Carlander, but off the back of the net. And to turn that one over, in fact, to Shane Bourne, who couldn't get it out. Parker Moore, a wrist shot, hit the outside of the goal. Nearly sniped Robbie Park short side, but maybe a couple of inches to the left. Heminger at the point, wide open. Shot it, but it was blocked in front. And picked up by the Spartans and lobbed through neutral ice. Moore retrieving it and settles behind his goal with Ari Seitzma, the tip of the spear, forward checking for Sparta with 10 minutes to go in the first period. The feed to Heminger. He doubles back, hits Carlander with the pass off his skates, but knocked ahead right into the path of Cohen Potter. Using that speed, Potter. Park got a poke check on it maybe. Potter stays on the puck, but he's wedged off it on the clean check. Schoonover changes the direction of play up the near wing. Serba couldn't get there in time. We're going to see a lot of this line for Sparta. Smith, Serba, and Schoonover, and they're out there right now. Schoonover forces the turnover, ripped it away from Gavorkian. Behind the goal to Harrison Smith, a soft pass to the front. Cleared out to the line, but no further. Kept there by Scott. Down the boards it goes, and around the kick plate to the far wing. Schoonover lost it. Gavorkian on it for CC. Pinned in a bit. He's got to find an exit plan, and he does. Off to McLean, and he gives it to Potter, right back to McLean with the overlap move, and he jams it down the wood. A lot of free-flowing play. Not a lot of whistles early on in this one. 7:30 start from Southside. Good crowd turned out for both sides, especially impressive for Sparta. The road turnout really good. And a high stick on the puck stops play. That's against Catholic Central. That gives me the chance to tell you that Catholic Central Boys Hockey on Cougar Puck Radio is brought to you by our gold sponsor, Innovia Wealth, and our Royal Blue sponsors, Chrisback, Fox Motors, Sharp Automotive, and 3-in-1 Solutions. Thank you for supporting the team once again, the 52nd varsity season for Catholic Central Hockey. The assistant coaches for Catholic Central, by the way, Corey Carlander and Mike Moss, Dave DeSanders, the goalie coach. The athletic trainers, Nate Lutz, and the student manager and camera operator here on CPR is Eli Rice. Wrister from out high, patted out by Aaron. It's Tanner Kovic. Funneled it toward the front, and a breakout on a 2-on-1 quickly. Capping a shot save, rebound, score! Gage Potter fires it in the open side, and the freshman has his 7th of the season, and he and Cappinga combine once again. I know your tricks, Dewey. Potter at the side of the net. 1-0 Cougars, 8:29 to go in the first. That's called a POP, a pass off the pads from Cappinga, off the pad of Park. And Potter went where you're supposed to go, to that near side post, just waiting, hoping that that puck bounced to him. And again, the Cougars have an early lead. They've been strong starting lately. And here they are again with the advantage in the first. Long shot, rebound, vibrantly off the stick of Park as the wrister came from Onstad. Park couldn't control it, but his teammates help out, and they clear back down to our right, and nearly a turnover, nearly a chance for Sparta, but that goes by the boards as Cappinga leads the rush once more. Delayed penalty coming against the Spartans. Cappinga turns it over with a drop pass to the blue line. Seitzma touches it, and that will put Catholic Central on the power play for the first time. Tripping the call against Seitzma. 7:55 to go in the first. Catholic Central on a 2-0-2 run. Not counting that forfeit win. If you want to count that, they're 3-0-1 since they were shut out by Granville, the number 1 team in the OK Fisher division, roughly 3 weeks ago. Sparta tries to clear. The Spartans on the year, 71% successful on penalty kills. The Cougars, their power play is catching fire, 3 goals in their last 2 games. They're at 13% conversion for the season. They were down below 10 coming out of the holiday break. Lead pass near side. Carlander deflected it up ahead. Now he corrals and feeds Pastelli below the goal line. Morgan Pastelli, the defenseman, native of St. Joe, Michigan. Pastelli looking out in front. Jensen is posted up there, but he's well covered. So Pastelli goes back to 10 harm zone. Now Carlander, shot, save made by Park. Rebound free, and whistle sounding. Halting play, as I thought I still saw the puck, but the referee lost sight of it, and so Robbie Park and the Spartans get a respite there. Different unit comes out, Cappingham, Moss, and Potter, essentially the forward line for even strength play as well for Coach Marchand. Behind the net, Potter pries it loose, and his teammate Cooper Moss scoops it up. Can't cut inside the dot, so Potter takes over. Onstad across to Moore. The shot pass right through the top of the crease. Nobody there for CC. Potter to Onstad, backpedaling, and getting a stick on that was Schoonover out high and turned out of the zone. Cleared all the way down by Tanner Kovic. 26 seconds to go before Seitzma comes out of the box for Sparta. Cougars up 1-0 on a Gage Potter goal, his team best 7th of the year. Moore cruising. Now downshifts to the near wall. Moore passing behind. Park slow to get over, and the backhand shot was stopped from Moss. Then the rebound flipped over the goal. Catholic Central stays on it, though. Onstad shot it, save. Park, rebound, poke toward the net. Park's on his backside, and now he's fallen on by Moss, but the Spartans clear. All the way down it goes, and that was just after Seitzma came out of the box. You heard Jacob Barron slamming his stick on the ice. It was almost a breakaway, luckily for Sparta, but unluckily for them. It scoots right by Seitzma and all the way down for icing. 5:49 to go in the first. So the Cougars go for their first opportunity on the power play. And we've got Cohen, Potter, and Reynolds out there. Centering pass from McLean. Came back through. McLean fishing for it and fishing for his first varsity goal, but he couldn't get the backhand shot off. To the point, Gavorkian taps it to Reynolds. Jack Reynolds centering in front. Poke just wide. That was McLean. Oh, man, he might not get a better chance. At least not tonight. To break that goose egg that close. What a great pass from Reynolds. And he and McLean have worked together often this season especially. Of course, McLean scored in that long shootout against Bay Reps in the West Michigan Hockey Showcase, so I always have to double check my numbers to make sure that, yes, he does not have a goal in the run of play, but he did score a crucial goal in that shootout. So in some ways, that's better than a goal in regulation play. That's icing against Catholic Central. And if memory serves, that goal from McLean in that shootout extended the game. Otherwise, the Cougars would have lost. So it was the most important goal of the game. But Michigan high school hockey does not have a shootout as their usual tie-breaking procedure, so those goals don't count. That's typically how it goes if leagues use shootouts, either occasionally or all the time. One of the Cougars lost his stick. That's Gavin Huskins, the freshman D, but he gets it back, and the Cougars get the puck back. Heminger sending it down the wall. Might be a 2-on-1, but he can't reach it. Carlander was to his left. Meanwhile, breaking back, Harrison Smith pulls up, number 16 in blue, rifles it on net. Stick save by Aaron. Easy one there with 4.5 minutes to go in the period. Point shot didn't get through from Reed Bennett. And now backhanded by Clark down in behind the Catholic Central net. Wheelock passing it across. Clark couldn't make a move. It was broken up by Heminger. The Cougars in transition again. Heminger's shot, Park the save, loose puck, top of the crease, and swatted away out high to the blue line. Onstadt delivers to Jackson Dozema. Near wing Moore as the puck came skidding around the horn. Moore twisting against Smith out at the top of the zone. Smith wins that battle and pitchforks it out of the zone, and he hightails it off the ice for a line change. 3:46 left. First period action from Southside Ice Arena. Catholic Central's 5th game at home this year. Onstadt chops it. Heminger couldn't take it cleanly. Mannion off the near boards, right by Carlander, who looks over to the bench. He's being summoned, so he heads off too. Right off the bench, Jensen gets a good whack on that puck, but it's offside. Jensen ambushed Ian Mark. Those first few strides off the bench, they can be quite powerful. And Jensen interrupted that breakout for Sparta. So Sparta, like I said, they lost 8 of their top 9 scorers to graduation, but they did get some supplementation. Ian Mark and Harrison Smith from their time with the Kennewa Hills Co-op. Mark more of a checking line player, but Smith for sure adds some offense. Berkmeyer down the boards. Oh, his pass a little too hard for Jensen. A little too far ahead of him as well. And Jensen inadvertently tripped up one of the Spartans, but that'll be a penalty. Pretty obvious call there. Stick in the skates of Hugo Larondo, and the senior forward draws the call. Catholic Central shorthanded for the first time tonight with 2:50 left in the period. Both penalties called in this game of the tripping variety. So Jensen has a seat, and this Cougars penalty kill brought to you by Inovio Wealth. Sparta's power play just 9.5% successful on the season. Here's a wrist shot, though, deflected just wide. Shane Bourne shot it. It was tipped by Parker Guerra in the slot. Cougars clear high off the glass. Reynolds pursuing, forcing the netminder Robbie Park to play it away quickly. Parker Guerra near wing. And hacked down the wall by Serba. Gets in after it does Serba. Drop pass. Here's Guerra. Partially fanned on the shot. 30 seconds into this power play. The Cougars are 76% successful on the penalty kill this season. Cohen Potter shoots it right into the scorer's area as he cleared it and it rattled off the glass, and it looked like that shocked the PA announcer. It would shock me too if I wasn't looking at it. That's a loud noise right over your shoulder. Tough to get one in that scorer's area, in fact. I'm not sure I've ever seen that here at Southside. It's just a tiny box. There's 4 people in it right now. There's no glass separating the benches from the penalty boxes here. Serba open, shoots, saved by Aaron at the top of his crease. Off the clean face-off win, but the Spartans' captain couldn't bury from inside the right circle. 2:08 to go in the first, and 1:18 left on the first Spartans power play. Serba on the draw against Kappinga. Captain versus captain. Serba won it. To the sidewall and back to Shane Bourne. Shooting for a stick. That went wide. And the rebound hammered off the glass by Mannion on the far side. Or excuse me, that's Wheelock. Near wing, Serba. Shot wide. Wheelock fields it off the wall. And he spun the pass behind the goal. First on it, Isaac Kappinga. Trying to come out from behind Harrison Smith. Smith 9 goals on the year. Could not get it to Serba, the 16-goal man. Moss broke it up, and Cooper Moss clears. Park guns it around to the far wing, but Kappinga's first on it. Catholic Central's captain battling hard at both ends, trying to kill this penalty. 30 seconds to go in the advantage. Serba's backhand against the grain. Pastelli couldn't get a stick on it. Schoonover pokes it deep, and he's in after it. Moore takes him for a ride with a clean body check. Now Moore collides with Seitzma. Loose back to the point. Turning it back, Hohendorf. Near wing Kovic lines it up. Blocked. Blocked by Carlander. Under a minute to go in the period. Just a few seconds left, and then Levi Jensen escapes the penalty box. Kovic, under duress, doubles back. The Cougars are 1 for 1 on the PK. Kovic coughed it up at center ice to Dozema, but he can't get to that puck. Reed Bennett cradles and settles behind his goal. McLean getting in after it on the half wall. 30 seconds to play in the period. Here's McLean centering one under Dozema's stick. Dozema back to the blue line. Onstott's open. He shoots it, and that's swatted away by Park. Rebound into the crease by Heminger. The referee's right there, and he doesn't point to the net. It's held out by the fallen Park, who has spent a lot of this first period on either his backside or on his back, period. That time on his back to cover up the puck and get the stoppage in play. Park on the season, by the way, 5-7 with an .802 save percentage and a 3.16 goals against average. This is 13th appearance. His backup, Luke Mannion, has seen 3 games this year. Back out the center. Face-off won, in air quotes, by Catholic Central, but they couldn't keep it in the offensive zone. Clear up the far side, not out. Dozema with 7 seconds. Couldn't get it toward the front, but McLean still battles, and Serba slips it out into neutral ice for Sparta. Time expires on the redump in by Catholic Central. Doesn't lead to anything there right before the buzzer. So Catholic Central leads at 1-0. Gage Potter from Isaac Kappinga. Those two connect again on a goal almost exactly halfway through the first period. That was it as far as the scoring is concerned. Each side went 0 for 1 on the power play. We'll be back after 10 minutes time for the second period from Southside. This is Cougar Puck Radio. I'm Matt Gajtka. Cougars in the lead early. Second period time from Southside Ice Arena. I'm Matt Gajtka. Thank you so much for joining me tonight on Cougar Puck Radio. Tuesday night special. Cougars up 1-0 against Sparta. And hello to any of the Sparta fans who may be following along. Your team on the road. Picked off, coming right to the goal. Smith had the pass from Schoonover, go right through his legs. I don't know if he wasn't ready or just too hard of a pass in the wrong spot, but the Spartans get right on the attack in period number 2 and nearly tie the score. Kovic up the near boards. This is a team that's averaging more than 3 goals per game in the Spartans. 4-4 on the road, 7-8 overall this season. Postelli for Catholic Central. Lob pass beyond the reach of Dozema, off the glass, right to the middle of the ice. There's Moss, a backhand, saved by Park, and he holds it out on the far side post. And then Moss rammed into a Spartans defenseman and knocked his face cage loose. After all that, no goal, but the Cougars get an offensive zone draw. So some action to start the second period. And that, my friends, is home ice advantage when you see a dump out attempt by the opposing team deflect right to one of your forwards in the slot. But no goal. Credit to Robbie Park for staying with that. Moore, cross-ring pass, open man's Carlander. He's got Heminger going to the goal. Heminger couldn't quite take the pass. Right back in behind the net, Dozema. Unable to center that one for Carlander, but this line goes to work suddenly. Carlander dragging, feeding. Dozema in the corner, bumped by Reed Bennett, the junior D for Sparta. Sparta in the blue, Catholic Central in the white tonight. Postelli, good hustle and power to wedge that puck loose and give it on over to Heminger. It's behind the goal for Parker Moore. Moore to Carlander, up through to center, but picked off by Aaron Clark. It's Aaron, spelled A-R-E-N-D. It's a new one for me. Postelli down the boards, good skating. Controlling, patiently shooting over the crossbar. He held on to that puck forever. Leading the rush, Morgan Postelli nearly sniping, but just about a couple of inches over the bar. Postelli taking the puck, clears it off the boards. Off it goes, over the head of Clark. Here's Reynolds following on. His centering pass hit LaRondo. Reynolds got it back, a backhand is denied by Park. He got his pads together to keep it out. Ten Harmsel, though, holds at the blue line. His shot well too high. Heminger couldn't tip it, or even if he did, it would have been a high stick on the puck. And banged to center by the Spartans. Ten Harmsel. His pass was deflected by LaRondo. Bennett takes it back, nearly handed it over to Gage Potter. It ricochets off his stick and to the near side where it's backhanded out of the zone. Ian Mark took care of it there. Caleb McLean, a shot deflected right over to Cohen Potter, nearly had an open net. Now he centers. Oh, the net was knocked off its moorings. That's a bad break for Catholic Central, as McLean and company were right there buzzing around the net as Potter centered off the outside of the goal frame. 14:06 left in the second. This is our last broadcast on Cougar Puck Radio for a couple of weeks. Due to some scheduling conflicts, some work conflicts for myself. This Friday, unable to make it out to West Ottawa, to Holland at Griff's Ice House West. But the Cougars play the Panthers in a 5 o'clock start. Then next week, next Friday, on the road at Big Rapids. I'll be out of town for that one and the game, unfortunately, against Byron Center. The Bulldogs here at home. Side of the net in the Cougars' end, turned over. Out to the blue line, banged around the horn by Hohendorf. Moss to the puck for Catholic Central. Couldn't nudge it by Trevor Serba, who closed down his space. Serba trying to get in against Ten Harmsel. He bumped shoulders with him, but Ten Harmsel moved the puck. It redirects to the middle. Kappinga scoops and skids in over the blue line. Kappinga getting tied up on the near side. Puck came loose, no penalty called, and cleared all the way around the wood Gevorkian trying to buy the icing call. It's not going to work. It was an admirable effort by Alex Gevorkian. A veteran move, but the linesman didn't buy it. Kappinga takes the pass that went right under the stick of Hohendorf, and Kappinga, who set up the Cougars' first goal with a couple of smooth moves through center, can't make it happen that time in the offensive zone, and Sparta ices it. 13:01 left in the first. So the next broadcast I'll have for you after this one will be the 23rd of January here at home on a Friday against Saginaw Heritage, and also the next night, the rivalry game against East Grand Rapids, also at 7:30, also here at Southside. So looking forward to that. I'm getting into a rhythm. 3 games in 5 days, and I'll be gone for a while, so that's just how it goes sometimes. Carlander setting sail, could not get around Shaneborn, but left it for Dozma, who turns it right back out high, but taken away by Ari Seitzma. Seitzma hammers Pastelli, sends him tumbling, and the Spartans bench loves that. Sparta hanging in there on the road. Dozma couldn't poke it out at the blue line past Kovic. Kovic, though, centered off the body of Heminger. He comes back on the counter. Heminger looking, centering back, shot by Carlander, glove, save by Park on his knees, and he hangs on. 12:21 left in the second, and Robbie Park snatches that puck out of the air. Catholic Central's offense has been better over this 4-game unbeaten streak. They've put in 14. They've allowed just 8. But they've been good defensively all year. It's more of a case of the offense just needing a little bit more, maybe one more goal in some of these games. It could make a massive difference. They've had, of course, 3 ties. Gage Potter strong on his stick. Shot, save made by Park. I don't know how he held that out. It looked like it was going to rattle between his pads and in the net. But Gage Potter stick checked a couple of times as he dragged it in between the circles, but ultimately denied by Robbie Park. No penalties yet in this second period. No goals. Sparta this weekend has the East Side Stars out at the East Lansing Ice Cube. Then they'll host Portage the following weekend at Griff's Ice House. Both Sparta and Rockford call the Ice House home. Aaron makes his first save of the period on the long-range drive by Smith, who shrugs his shoulders at his line mate Serba. But I've been saying, what was that? As the shot came from beyond the blue line. 60 feet away, but it does lead to an offensive zone face-off for the Spartans. I just wish that, within reason, I could have some mics on some players sometimes. Of course, we'd have to filter that for language. I don't know if you know this, but hockey players are pretty good at some colorful language down there. Just sports in general, but I think hockey especially. But good to have players with demonstrative body language, so you know what they're feeling at least from up top. Pastelli angles it between his own legs. Back down deep. Coming out from behind his net, Bennett smashed it off the near side boards, and a hand pass called at center against Catholic Central. Cooper Moss touching up. I thought it was against Catholic Central. I think it might have been against Sparta now that I look at it, because the faceoff is coming in Spartans territory. 11:25 to go in the first. Sparta's been pretty consistent this year. They've been blanked just one time by Utica Fraser United back in early December. They were held to 1 goal by Hancock on the trip up to the UP as Cohen Potter centers, but right between some sticks and bodies. And carried out of danger by Mannion on the dump. Parker Moore swats it along to himself, as it turns out. His pass too far for Caleb McLean to reach. Hohendorf hustling back. Freshman D lost it to the middle. Reynolds. A shot was blocked in the slot. Blocked away by Weston Scott. There were 2 goaltenders on that play, and Scott was the first one to get a piece. Moore back to it. Angles it beautifully. Cohen Potter on the move. Didn't have to break stride. Here's Potter, a cut-in move and a shot. And a stick save by Park. Rebound. Hops over to the far side. Boards. And reverse to LaRondo. Couldn't get it out. Ten Harmsel. He got checked on the leg. That had to hurt. Thought that might have been knee-to-knee contact, but play allowed to continue on as a snapshot from Hohendorf goes wide. He chases in after it, and he's hit up high by Pastelli, who got his hand in the mask of Hohendorf, and I believe that is what triggered the penalty call from the referee to our left. Second power play coming for Sparta just after the Cougars thought they should have had one. That's how it goes sometimes. And with 10:19 to go in the second, the Cougars are going to have to kill it off again. Two minutes on the board to Morgan Pastelli. This penalty kill, which has now killed off 5 in a row. Speaking of 5 in a row, that's 5 straight Cougars goals that have been created by the line of capping a Potter and Moss. A wrist shot from Serba, blocked by Onstadt bravely, and smashed down the rink the rest of the way by Carlander. Talking about second goalies at the other end, Onstadt just stood his ground, and Serba tried to beat him 5-hole. Didn't work. Serba surging right back in. His centering pass blocked by Onstadt. Around the boards it goes and out. Another excellent job to limit the offensive zone time for the Spartans. Catholic Central going to work on the PK. Turnover forced to Moss. He shoots. Oh, it's off a Spartan leg and just wide of the net. Moss, who already has one shorthanded goal this year, nearly had a second, and that would have been a rare one, scoring from center ice with a goalie in the net. But anyway, Serba cruising down the right wing. Serba centers off a stick. Right back out to Wheelock. Shot it blocked by Parker Moore. Moore has it. The Cougars can break back on a 2-on-2 rush. Down a man. Moore meandering, firing stick saved by Park. Puck deflected to the far wall. Parker Moore takes it back. Excellent job by Catholic Central so far in the first 70 seconds or so of this kill. Lead pass by the goalie Park. On to Harrison Smith. Swerving, dropping. This is Wheelock. Shot, missed it, tied to the right. Rebound off the end board. Serba couldn't jam it in past Aaron. That was Schoonover, excuse me. Schoonover got to that puck. Harrison Smith back out to the blue line, and between the 2 point men, Hohendorf and Kovic. It split the uprights, did that pass. And so Hohendorf has to wind it up for Sparta. 20 seconds remaining on their second power play. The Spartans on the attack. Hohendorf shot, save. Aaron, loose puck at the front. Cleared on one knee by Heminger all the way down. And touched behind his net by Robbie Park, but that's going to do it for the power play. The Cougars are 2 for 2. Maintaining a 1-0 lead. Driving wide, Kovic. Oh, he scored! My goodness, a top shelf shot from a sharp angle. And Tanner Kovic, the defenseman, looking like a sizzling attacker on that play. I don't know if that deflected off of a Cougar stick or not, but it zipped high into the net. And behind Aaron, who appeared shocked, and so was I, to be honest. It's 1-1, and the traveling section down to our left gets up and cheering for their Spartans. Tanner Kovic is 4th of the year. I'd love to see that on replay after the period to see if it was tipped or it just was a perfect shot. Either way, you couldn't have placed it better from Kovic. It's 1-1. And just like in the first period, a goal about halfway through. This one with 8:15 to go in the second. The Cougars forward checking. It's McLean. Couldn't connect back to the point for Ten Harmsel. Kovic getting credit for the goal over the PA. No assist announced. Ten Harmsel tried to pass it toward the middle, but it was broken up by the sprawling Clark. Out to the point, kept in by Gavorkian. He gets it to Potter somehow, but taken away by Clark. Again held at the line by Gavorkian once and twice, but not the third time. Seitzma couldn't get around the edge against Ten Harmsel, who sprinted all the way over to the far side to help out his partner and thwarted the Spartans' rush. So it's Gage Potter for Catholic Central, and it's Tanner Kovich for Sparta, and we're tied. .7:23 remaining in the second period. Push back to the blue line. Weston Scott sends it ahead, but into the clutches of Noah Onstadt, who does a button hook in his own end. Wanted to fire that pass up ahead, but it's off a skate. Right to Parker Moore. Moore to Onstadt, far wing. Nifty redirection by Gage Potter, and the Cougars are away again. Here comes Kappinga. Moss going to the goal. Couldn't get the pass through. Kappinga got it back. That was a brilliant block by Weston Scott. Sold out to block it. Onstadt, a shot redirected just wide. That rush looked just like the one that led to Moss's goal, opening the scoring at Reith's Puffer over the weekend. Almost identical, except the pass didn't get through to Moss this time. Charlie Eli gets a touch on the puck. First time calling his name tonight. Potter again directs it out to center, but away from a teammate this time. That was Cooper Moss trying to flag it down. Instead, it stopped behind his goal by Jacob Aaron. Up the near wing, Cooper Moss sends a cross check at Serba as he lost the puck to Serba. Smith backhands off a body. Serba centering right under the stick of Schoonover. Kappinga drives it off the wall and down. Icing coming against Catholic Central. 6:10 remaining in the second. These two teams going toe-to-toe. Non-conference action. Of course, every game is non-conference for Sparta. It's going to be tough for the coaching staff to have to make the schedule. I don't want to say from scratch. I'm sure they have some frequent opponents they play every year, but you don't have those ready-made games the other coaches do. Down the boards it goes. Carlander down to a knee. No icing. Carlander with Dozema. Couldn't get it to him. The puck got hung up on the apron behind the goal. Reed Bennett leads the rush. A shot that was off target, but Aaron on his skates decided to catch it anyway. Jacob Aaron in his second year as the Cougars' full-time starting goalie. Last year he missed a couple games due to injury, which, with no backup on the roster, led to some issues. But Gavin Daddario, the senior last year, bravely stepped in, played goalie for the first time in his life. And that second game especially against Big Rapids, memorable here. Cougars didn't win that one, but it was quite the battle as Catholic Central fought to insulate their novice netminder. But hopefully Aaron is good to go for the whole year this time. Be one less thing for the coaching staff to worry about. Ten Harmsel guides it through center on to Dozema. An attempted shot was blocked high in the air by Shaneborn, and it bounces right at the top of the blue paint, pounced on by Park. 5:10 left in the second. Another thank you to our gold sponsor at Novia Wealth as we resume play at Southside Ice Arena. This is Cougar Puck Radio. Gavorkian hammered a pass. Too hot to handle for Reynolds. McLean wins it back at center. Twisted it right back in. Ian Mark controls for Sparta. And Spartans content to lift it to center ice. Right back in. Kovich lost control of it to Reynolds. It's been good in this period. Tried a centering play. Mark got in the way of that. Ian Mark taking over. First year in Spartan Blue. Played it to the corner, but Gavorkian closed that down. And the Cougars, as has been their trademark this year, getting the D involved, getting the D in deep. Puts an onus on the forwards to recognize and get back to cover the points, which Jack Reynolds did right there. And he snaps it ahead from just inside center red. Lifted in the air. Glove down by Moss, and pitchforked all the way in on the Cougars' goal. Aaron made a save on that. Thought I might want to freeze it, but LaRondo got a couple of whacks at it, hit the outside of the goal with the first one, and he managed to punch it toward the front there. Aaron freezes. Somewhat a nervous moment for Aaron and the Cougars, but they escape that with 4 to go in the second. Kappinga wins the draw on the forehand to Onstad. His backhand up the near boards, eludes Moss. So Hohendorf dumps it. Cleared up and out, good pass. No-look pass from Ten Harmsel to Potter, over to Moss. Try to go back across to Kappinga, but the feed was behind him. Potter held it in just barely inside the blue line. Good play. Weston Scott, though, flushed it near wing. Hohendorf lost it to Kappinga. Kappinga, he's at home, fighting for the puck on the yellow, they call it, the kick plate at the bottom of the boards. Ten Harmsel feeds it. Potter in front, Moss. He stubbed the one-timer. Great chance. Moss again centering under the stick of Kappinga, right off the heel, and Kappinga can't believe he missed that. The Spartans ice it as they were under duress. And so the Cougars get another offensive zone face-off, but they were that close to a great scoring opportunity on 2 separate occasions. One for Moss, the other for Kappinga. Both times Potter set it up. The freshman continues to impress. Out high, Heminger. Wheeling shot blocked. Dozma couldn't get to the rebound. Smith backhands ahead. Serba taking on Gavorkian, driving wide. But here's Pastelli to the rescue. He clears to center ice. Under 3 to go in the period. And a penalty again on the way against Catholic Central, as you might have guessed, because Robbie Park is off the ice to the bench. 6 attackers on for Sparta in the delayed penalty situation. Aaron Clark passed it behind his goal. Up the near wing, Dozma will touch it, so the Spartans can't get set up on the attack, but slashing the call against Gavorkian. And that's the 3rd penalty against Catholic Central. They're short again. 2.5 roughly to go in the second. The Cougars have just had the 1 power play, that back in the first period. And now 3 in a row called against Catholic Central. So again, the PK put to the test. They were outstanding on the last kill. They had the better scoring chances, you would argue. Onstad couldn't whack it out to center as Schoonover centers right off the stick of Moss and into the clutches of Noah Onstad, who clears and then retreats back to the red line, keeping an eye on Schoonover as the Spartans rev it up from behind their goal. Serba, one-man breakout this time. Trevor Serba, 16 goals, 26 points, centered, coming right down the alley was Schoonover, lost control of the puck. Moss couldn't get it out, though. Scooted across to Wheelock. Back out high, Shaneborn. The pass between the legs of Serba. It's happened a couple of times to him today. Serba looking back. Down the wall it goes to the goal line. Smith couldn't center it, and the Cougars Kappinga pried the puck loose, and he cleared it all in one motion. Then he gets a shove in against his opposite number, Smith, with 1:05 remaining on the power play. 1:40 left in the second period in a 1-1 game. Spartans have been hot lately. So have the Cougars. Guess it makes sense. It's a close one. Onstad smashed it off a Spartan leg. Kappinga relays. Carlander sends it the rest of the way. And Onstad galloping in after this puck. It settles in the corner. Onstad behind the goal. Wrap around. Turned away by Park. Shorthanded chance again for Catholic Central. Onstad calls for refreshments off the bench. Pastelli replaces him. The Cougars cut off the pass at center once more, but Carlander couldn't make a move in over the blue line. Long lead pass. Might be a partial break. It's Guerra. No, he won't be able to get there ahead of Pastelli, who cut him off coming out of the corner. 10 seconds remaining on the Gavorkian minor for slashing. The Cougars seconds away from being 3 for 3 on the kill. 40 seconds left in the second. The puck is just being pushed up against the boards by a couple of skates. The referee saying, play it, play it. The power play is over. Charging in Guerra to try to free it up, and someone finally does, but it's on for Cohen Potter. 3-on-2 rush for the Cougars. 22 seconds to go in the period. Cohen Potter's poke check, but it came back to him in the corner. Centered it for Moore, and the defenseman who was stationed right in front couldn't receive that pass off his skate. Pastelli turned it wildly back toward the front, but it's intercepted and cleared out of there by Seitzma. 5 seconds to go in the period. Moore's pass eludes everybody, and with 2.1 seconds left, icing against Catholic Central. Good action late in this frame, but neither team able to take advantage. The Spartans trying to make it 5 wins in a row. They beat Negaunee, they beat Kalamazoo United, they beat Grand Haven, they beat Hudsonville in that order coming into tonight. So they're on a 4-game win streak. The Cougars are unbeaten in 4. 3-0-1. Sparta's pulled its goalie. Parks on the bench, 6-on-5. Calculated risk, but it doesn't work out. Seitzma couldn't whack it toward the front of the net as Cohen Potter just went down on his knee to block the attempted shot off the faceoff, as that's pretty much what the Spartans had to do to score a goal with 2.1 seconds. Didn't work out. The Cougars defended it well. So we'll go to the third at Southside in a 1-1 game on Cougar Puck Radio. The only goal of that period scored by Sparta Junior D, Tanner Kovich, on the backhand. And so we take this low-scoring tie into the final regulation frame after this on CPR. Both sides at even strength for the start of the third period from Southside Ice Arena. I'm Matt Gajtka. Good to be home again with the Cougars. Trying to win for the second straight time. Trying to prevent a 5-game win streak for Sparta. Two of the top teams in the area this year. As Serba shoots, that's deflected off the end glass. Bounces free to the near side. Pastelli cradles and clears. Off to the right wing. Heminger sends it ahead off the stick of Carlander. Deflected in deep. And the Spartans try to make their way out of their zone. And it's dumped out as Schoonover himself was dumped on his backside. The Cougars go back to work in the attacking zone. Tight game. And Pastelli run off the puck by Schoonover. He makes the pass to Smith, a shot. Save Aaron Luce in front. And he couldn't find it, but one of his teammates did. Luckily for him. Parker Moore leading the rush back. Moore lost his stick in the collision with Schoenborn. And Braden Schoenborn clears high off the far side boards and out over the outstretched glove of Gage Potter as he tried to jump and grab it. Kappinga wins the race for the puck against Seitzma as he leaned his stick into Seitzma's. The shot from the point by Bennett, blocked by Morgan Pastelli. Pastelli keeps it moving up the far wing. Kappinga on it. Kappinga with Potter and Moss. This line has generated the last 5 Cougars goals. Can they make it a 6th early in the third? Kappinga confronted by a couple of Spartans in the corner. Moss helps out. Kappinga sent Parker Guerra flying. Taking over Potter. Backside pass. Looking for 10 Harmswell. He couldn't direct it on target. Meanwhile, Kappinga from the near post spins it off the back of the net. Great shift for Catholic Central to get this period started in a positive way. But Potter's hope pass to the middle is intercepted by Bennett. He escapes the puck to center. Lost, though. Cohen Potter. Here he comes. The junior, though, is poke checked at the dot by Hohendorf. Hohendorf goes tumbling to the ice. Bodies flying everywhere. Sticks flying everywhere. Carter Wheelock grabbing the puck for Sparta. Shoots in deep. And 2 minutes and change into the third. Both sides completing line changes. Hohendorf rifles ahead again. Onstadt looks up. Wires a pass far side to no one in particular as it scoots right through the Spartan zone. Icing waved off. Smashed off the wood and out of the zone. Onstadt had to go by him, so Jacob Aaron has to play it behind his goal. Potter knocks it below the goal line. The Cougars have played a lot of close games lately. They've had 3 ties in the last 4 weeks, including that 3-3 tie against Rockford last Friday. Turned toward the net by Mannion. That was blocked down by Gavorkian. And cracked off the far wall by Onstadt, but not out. A shot from the point. Aaron tracked it the whole way from Clark. Pinching in Schoenborn. He's after it on his forehand. Schoenborn yanks it back against the grain. Over to Isaac Mannion. Another long stretch of uninterrupted play. We had that in the first period, too, and apparently I just jinxed it, as that's icing against Catholic Central. That first period, I feel like we played 7 or 8 consecutive minutes. I'll have to look back on it, if I care to do so, if I remember to do so later. Remember, you can like and subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. You can also sign up for notifications so you know when we're going live. I try to start the stream right around the scheduled start time of the games, even though the games don't typically start when they are listed at. That's more or less the start of the warm-up. And that was the case again tonight. We had a Fox Motors club practice on the ice before us. Turned over, Smithy's open, he pumps it right into the chest of Aaron, and there's no rebound. That's a couple of times that, down to our right, we've seen odd bounces, unexpected bounces go right to attackers poised to shoot. This time it benefited the Spartans, but Smith couldn't bury what would have been his 10th of the season. Catholic Central's top goal man converted back in the first. Gage Potter, his 7th of the year. It gives him 12 total points, tying him with Kappinga. Off the face-off, a shot deflected off the rink into the screen. We have not seen too many pucks go up over the glass tonight. Everything's just staying in play. It makes for a more appealing product. I'm okay with that. Loose puck high in the zone. Heminger hunts it, wins it, and scoots it right off the stick, or perhaps the foot of Tanner Kovic, Sparta's goal getter, and it deflects into his bench. Another thank you to our gold sponsor, Inovia Wealth, and our royal blue sponsors, Chris Back, Fox Motors, Sharp Automotive, and 3-in-1 Solutions. Thank you for your support. 13:08 left in regulation, nearing the, we're past the 9 o'clock hour, in fact. Serba serves it to Smith, a shot from near the boards from 50 feet out. That's scooted wide of the net. Heminger on the puck, lost control of it. Serba tumbling down, trying to make a play. Instead, it's Carlander knocking it forward. Icing waved off. Bennett forced to play it out of the corner. Carlander takes over. Carlander, turnaround pass. Kapinga couldn't flag it down. Heminger will, and shoot wide into the left corner. Moore pinches up, but it's knocked past him. Heminger takes it and rifles it right back in. Off the bench comes Hohendorf. Played it around and out. Schoonover could not take it as Postelli got in his way, tied him up beautifully. Gage Potter, the flip. Into the zone. Potter behind the goal. Angles Postelli away from his reach. That took a lively bounce off the kick plate and right past Postelli, who was otherwise ready for it. Ten Harmsel speeds a pass forward to Potter. Fanned on his relay. Potter circles back for it and put it off the stick. No, he didn't, of Postelli. It was untouched, and that's why the icing call is made, and Postelli lightly slaps the sidewall in frustration. 11:48 remaining in the third. The Cougars held off the board in the second period. They scored 4 goals in the opening 20 minutes or so of Saturday's game. Since then, just the one. They held on to beat Reese Puffer 4-2 on Saturday at Trinity Health Arena, the home of the USHL's Muskegon Lumberjacks. Now they're back on their home ice. Just the 1 goal on the scoreboard so far for them, but they to just the 1. Potter couldn't get by the stick check of Scott, but Moss follows on for the Cougars into the corner. Hohendorf ran him off. Gage Potter takes the puck back. Potter to Onstad, drifting, shooting, deflected off the stick of Charlie Eli. Some friendly fire almost for Sparta, but it goes offline. Onstad pummels it down below the goal line again. Potter turning off the checking of Hohendorf. Back to the point Onstad. Makes a man slide right by. The shot was blocked, and it nearly was right on the tape of Potter, but just barely away from his reach. Iced by the Spartans. They'll get a line change. 10:44 left in the third. Gage Potter playing off the contact in the corner and doing so quite well. Potter, who's listed at just 5'6", 155 pounds. Doesn't matter how much you weigh. How strong are you on your skates? That's what it comes down to. Serving it back is Cohen Potter. He's strong on his skates. I know that much. Potter going in after it. The Cougars penalty minutes leader with 36. Starting to trigger the forward check. Reynolds and McLean out there flanking him. Long pass ahead. That's scooted right by Onstad, untouched, apparently. And the Sparta bench disagrees, but icing is called against the visitors. Gage Potter scored in the first for Catholic Central. Tanner Kovic answered for Sparta. I did watch that replay, and I thought initially it was a backhand shot. I was screened out a bit from this angle as Kovic ducked behind the Cougar defense, but he actually turned that over to his forehand and flipped it up under the crossbar. Really impressive. Potter versus Guerra at the faceoff dot. Potter wins the faceoff. That's Cohen Potter. Parker Moore helps it behind the net, but it skips right past Cohen Potter to the far side. McLean lets it go because Gevorkian's got the point covered. McLean reaches for it and couldn't get the puck. The Spartans knock it out of the air with a high stick. Cougars touch it next, so play continues. Gevorkian up and over the head of Guerra. No icing here, ruled to have been deflected. Exactly 10 minutes to go in the third. Gevorkian trying to keep this puck in, but it skips past his blade. Cohen Potter covering up. Potter dumps it to himself. Oh, but he left the puck behind. Would have been offside, is offside against Catholic Central as they couldn't quite tag up, and the puck lingered in the attacking zone. So the Cougars have this game, then they play West Ottawa on Friday. That'll wrap up a stretch in which they'll have played, 4 games in 8 days. As we found out earlier this week, or I found out, you can't play more than 3 games in 7 days. Schoonover, centering. Serba got a shot away on the broken play, but he misfired. Behind the goal, Smith, a backhand centering pass off the blocker hand of Aaron. It's still loose. Schoonover reaching for it. Aaron covers up, and we get the whistle. Austin Schoonover, just the 3 points on the year, but he anchors that top line for Sparta. Junior, 6'1", 170 pounds. He and Serba are an imposing tandem on that line. And on the opposite end of that spectrum, you've got Parker Guerra, the center, just 5'1". Another face-off as Aaron melts it down. No further play. Off the face-off, it came right to the front of his net. That's the beauty of hockey. It's a game for all shapes and sizes. As long as you can skate, as long as you can move out there, doesn't matter. You can make it happen. And here's Heminger trying to make it happen for the Cougars. His shot was blocked by Clark, who went sprawling to the ice, and he's slow to get up. That one stung him. Coming off the wall, Dozema couldn't center it for Heminger. Broken up at the last second. Onstad unable to keep it in with his body at the blue line. And Noah Onstad turns it right back into the mix. Dozema colliding and canceling with Hohendorf. Carlander shovels it along. Pitchforked ahead and up and out as it's gloved out of the air by Schoonover, and he was the next to touch it, but then Smith overskated. Harrison Smith, the former Kennewa Hills standout. Heminger couldn't get around the edge. Defended by Hohendorf. He leads the charge back 1-on-3, but Pastelli poke-checked him with a little help from his friends. The Cougars surrounded Hohendorf and cleared up the near side and down for an icing against Catholic Central past the midway point of the third period. Are we destined for another overtime for Catholic Central? Still a ways to go. 8 miles to travel before we get there, but just throwing that out there. If that's what it takes, I don't think they'll mind. Pastelli. Out of the near corner to Potter. Up through center, Kappinga takes on a couple of Spartans. Moss is going to the goal. Kappinga knew that. He just blindly threw it to an area, but defended well by Sparta. Right under the stick of Moss this time. Off the near side boards is Pastelli. Tossed it centrally. Moss keeps it alive in the offensive zone. Kappinga staples his man. Puck loose to Gage Potter. Distributes back to Parker Moore. Shot off the glove of the goaltender Park and poked just wide by Kappinga under duress. Potter tried to go back to the blue line. It was deflected. And look at that puck rolling up on edge all the way back into Cougars real estate. Pastelli overtaken there. Parker Moore just subtly touching the puck to try to play keep away behind his net. And up it goes. Cooper Moss takes command. Coming off a 2-goal game. Moss a shot. Kicked out by Park right through the slot as he had Gage Potter trying to maybe tip that or slap it in behind him. But Park booted it away with the right toe. Ten Harmsel retrieves to Onstad, his partner on the reversal. Out of the corner, Serba. Pass picked off by Gage Potter. And that is Caleb McLean, rather. He laid it too far ahead for Cohen Potter to receive. So the Spartans go to work near side. Ten Harmsel breaks up that maneuver. On to Cohen Potter. Up ahead. Here's Caleb McLean. Tried to pull the trigger. It was blocked. Rebound on the backhand. And it went right through the blue paint. Serba heads back to our right. Dumps it right in on Aaron. And he doesn't want to take any chances. So he hangs on with 6:33 left. Good game, tight game tonight. One of the lower scoring games for Catholic Central this year. They had a 2-2 tie right before the break against Caledonia. Harrison Smith wanted to run the gauntlet, but he couldn't get the backhand on target. Onstadt, clearing pass ahead. McLean on the end of it. But then Bennett takes it back for Sparta, turned it over to Onstadt. Onslaught down the boards. Reynolds right to the goal. Park to save. Rebound in front. Score! And there it is. Caleb McLean, his first career varsity goal. Catholic Central leads 2-1 with 6:09 to play in the third. Bulls on parade. Catholic Central kept at it, and it eventually fell to the backhand of McLean, who beat Robbie Park from the top edge of the crease. Someone save that puck. I know they will. Catholic Central leads for the second time tonight. And honestly, the celebration was more relief than elation from McLean, who earlier in this game missed a chance from a very similar spot off a Reynolds setup. This time, it was a greasy one for the Cougars and Caleb McLean. Double deuce comes through. I see his dad, Mike, pacing the concourse back here. Look out, what a strange bounce that was. Right in on Aaron. Point shot drifts wide from Weston Scott for Sparta. So the Spartans got to get on the comeback trail. They're going to try to, but here's Dozema trying to use that speed. Great play, though, by Hohendorf to knock the puck away from him. However, I think that's going to be a penalty. Oh, wait, it might be against Catholic Central. It is against Dozema. Inadvertently tripped Hohendorf. That's a bad break, but I can see how that was called nonetheless. The Cougars get called for a fourth consecutive penalty. I believe tripping was the call, but I'll confirm that. 5:31 left, and they've got to kill off another one. Dozema just fired his stick into the penalty box. Couldn't believe he was that close to potentially a breakaway, and instead he ends up committing a penalty. The goal for McLean, assisted by Reynolds, the lone assist man on the play. And the call is hooking, not tripping. That puck is tossed off the rink over the Cougars bench after the face-off on the deflection. Stick broke. And some of the Cougars were lobbying for a slashing call. I think one of the Spartans chopped down on a Cougar stick so hard he shattered his stick. Again off the faceoff. Smith versus Kappinga. Kappinga choking way down on it. And out to the point. Kappinga flushes it out. Whistle sounds. For what? Is that icing? Or no, excuse me. That is offside. Yeah, I was thinking the Cougars are shorthanded. Can't be icing, but Kappinga is saying I had a chance to go the other way. So Dozema in the box. The faceoff outside the zone. Power play number 4 for Sparta. They're under 10% conversion on the season. It's a weak spot for them. And another steal and a clear by the Cougars. This time Noah Onstadt takes care of business. Backhanded through to Serba. He sends it ahead. Onstadt grabs it and rifles it away. Under 5 to go in the third period. Power play chance for Sparta down by a goal on the road tonight. The Spartans have won 4 straight to get their record back to 7-8 after a rough time for a while there. Late November, early December. Smith takes the return pass. Cohen Potter fronts him. Smith eludes him, makes the pass to Serba. Shot, glove save by Aaron, and he hangs on. 58 seconds to go on the power play. 4:28 to go in the game, or excuse me, the third. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Caleb McLean has put the Cougars ahead late in this third. Can they hold this lead? The drop of the puck. Potter takes a swing at it. Couldn't knock it back to the wall. The Spartans take over. Second unit out there for Coach Bormus and the Spartans. Right to the side of the net. Intercepted by Moore. And down it goes again. Robbie Park on it. Fed it to Hohendorf. Cross rink as the Spartans are trying to break it out. They're spending too much time behind their net, though. 4 to go in the third. Now they get their ducks in a row. Down the boards, Hohendorf. Bumped by Cohen. Potter lost the puck. And sent down, 200 feet by Parker Moore. This is Guerra. Steering it over to Bennett. Reed Bennett. Spartan defenseman on the move. Tried to duck around Pustelli. Left it behind, though. Bennett couldn't take it back, but held in by Hohendorf. 1 second to go on the penalty. It's over. Dozema out of the box. Centering play. Chopped toward the net by Seitzma, and Aaron could not cover it. Seitzma, with a strong reverse hit against Moore, keeps the puck alive in the attacking zone for Sparta, but we are back to 5-on-5. Catholic Central, for a second consecutive game, is 4 for 4 on the penalty kill. Special teams have been big over the last week. Cohen Potter smashed a Spartans player. I don't even know who it is. He's down in front of the near boards. I can't see him from this angle. He's on the ice, and that is a roughing penalty called against Cohen Potter. I looked up. I was tracking the puck. I did not see the hit except for out of my peripheral vision, so I couldn't tell who it was. Didn't know what the hit even looked like, to be honest, but Ari Seitzma is slow to get up. And good to see him standing up on his own power. Cougars athletic trainer out to take a look at him. Seitzma slowly skates back to his bench, but Sparta gets another power play. 2 in a row late. 3:03 remaining. And it is a 2-minute roughing call. And Coach Kyle Marchand wants the referee to come over to chat with him. Just for a second, it looks like. The PK asked to come up with another kill. Shane Bourne, cross rink, off to Serba playing the point, but it's whacked out of his reach and all the way down by Onstad, or almost all the way down. Serba lassos the pass, sends it ahead, Schoonover. Couldn't get around the edge against the smooth skating Onstad. To the point, a slapper by Serba, blocked by Onstad with his glove, and he flips it ahead looking for Cooper Moss. Couldn't get onto it initially, but Moss continues to battle, and he shoves it down the boards a little bit further. Every little bit helps. Schoonover. 2:27 to go in the game, and I have thoughts that maybe Sparta might get their goalie off too to make it a 6-on-4. As for right now, they have not done that. Centering for Serba off his backhand side, and he couldn't receive it, but he wins the puck battle at the point. Clips it over to Smith. Smith right back through the crease, and it goes off the corner boards and out to neutral ice. 1 minute left on the Cohen Potter minor penalty. Across from Serba. Far wing, flipped in the air by Wheelock. Shane Bourne overskated. Dozema drives it down. Park still in his net. Tanner Kovic slips by Kappinga at center. Kovic, the only goal getter so far tonight for Sparta. 1:40 left. Kovic knocks down the clearance from Onstad. Kovic a shimmy and a shake out at the top of the zone, but he turned it over as Onstad stepped in front. Back to the point, Kovic, and kept it in play just barely down the near side glass. 1:28 to go in the third, and cleared around and out. The Cougars are short, so it doesn't matter if they send it all the way down, and they do again. 14 seconds before Cohen Potter is released from the penalty box. 1:11 to play in the third. The Cougars protecting a lead on home ice here on Cougar Puck Radio. Bennett, a lot of speed. Tries to get by Moore. Good job by Moore to maintain a tight gap into the near corner. Park still in the goal, by the way. One more clearance by Catholic Central. Icing against the Cougars. Parker Moore got it out. Didn't care if he iced it. And I have to imagine that Sparta is about to call a timeout. Yes, Coach Kevin Bormas does just that. Time to talk it over on both benches. 51 seconds remaining. Catholic Central could make it 10 wins with a solid final minute. Sparta has nearly completed the climb back to 500 with this 4-game win streak, but they'll need some heroics now. Sparta lost its first 5 this season to Forest Hill Central, Portage, Caledonia, St. Clair Shores, and Alpena. And they won 2 in a row. And they treaded water for a bit, but they have not lost since December the 12th, so almost a full month. Counting the holiday break, of course, but almost a full month between losses for Sparta. But that could be coming to an end if they can't punch one past Jacob Aaron in the final 51 seconds. Caleb McLean's first career varsity goal has the Cougars in position for a win. What would be their 4th win, technically on home ice, in 5 tries. But the Spartans are going to get one last chance at it, and they have taken their goalie off. Park to the bench. 6 on 5. The face-off to Aaron's left. Austin Schoonover, the assistant or alternate captain, if you prefer, to take the face-off against Carson Carlander. Carlander wins the face-off to the near side. That's step 1 for Catholic Central. Carlander whacking at it, won the puck. Cooper Moss sending it down toward the empty net, but wide as he saucered it gently and icing against Catholic Central. 40 seconds to go. Now, if you're Moss, maybe next time, just take that full-blooded shot at it. Conventional thinking has changed in hockey lately. It used to be you never wanted to ice the puck when you were down a man in this late game situation. Now you go for it and try to win the game. Shot blocked by Kappinga. Here comes Moss around the corner against Shane Bourne. Hit the outside of the goalpost from nearly the corner. Cooper Moss almost icing it with an empty netter, but now he's lost his stick. He's got to try to find it and or get back quickly. And the Spartans through center, they've got a 3-on-2. Schoonover in the final 15 seconds to the corner. He ends up driving it in deep. Might have done the Cougars a favor there. Kappinga trying to pin that puck to the wall. Instead it comes loose for a shot toward the front. Oh, they score! Shane Bourne buries it from the inner edge of the left circle. And with 4.4 seconds left, the Spartans have tied it 2-2. What looked like a nothing play, Catholic Central nearly ran out the clock on the boards. Instead, the puck came loose, and you got to give Shane Bourne credit for a perfect shot. Second perfect shot tonight by the Spartans. And the extra attacker goal goes against the Cougars this time. They got one at Rockford last Friday. Tonight, the Spartans score one. And they're still alive to make it 5 wins in a row. Center ice draw, dump down into the Cougars' end, and that's it for regulation. So we'll take a short break on Cougar Puck Radio. McLean for Catholic Central. Shane Bourne, his 2nd of the year, just his 2nd of the season. Wouldn't have known that from where he put that puck right into the roof of the goal. And so we've got overtime once again for Catholic Central for the third time in the past 3 weeks. Back for sudden death after this. The Cougars were that close to winning the game, making it 5 games unbeaten, but they've got to work overtime for this. I'm Matt Gajtka. This is Cougar Puck Radio. Catholic Central has tied 3 games this year. They also have gone to a shootout in the West Michigan Hockey Showcase. They played a tie game up in Gaylord in the D3 Challenge that didn't even have any overtime or shootout to break the tie. So they've played only 3 overtimes, or 2 overtimes to this point, this past week against Rockford in that 3-3 tie. And right before the holiday break, on the 22nd of December against Caledonia in a 2-2 draw. So the Cougars have not scored or allowed an overtime goal yet this season, is what I'm trying to say. Catholic Central to attack the goal down to our right. We change ends for overtime. 8 minutes loaded on the scoreboard. And a lead pass for Smith. Fan on the initial shot. Now he charges by 10 Harmsel. Centered. Oh, they score on the backside. 10 seconds into overtime. Trevor Serba lifts it into the twine, and that's it. The Spartans are elated, and the Cougars deflated, as the Spartans score with 4 seconds left in regulation, and then 10 seconds into overtime. Smith down the boards, and he played setup man for Serba, who scores again. He's already got 2 more than he scored all of last year. Spartans win it 3-2 on the road. They absolutely steal one from Catholic Central at the death of this game. And so the unbeaten streak is over for the Cougars somehow. And Sparta rises to 8-8 with a sudden death win, 3-2. Stunning end to this one on Cougar Puck Radio. So Serba on the backside on the assist from Smith. I think they're still announcing the late third period goal for Sparta. Wow. So technically 2 goals 14 seconds apart, spanning the third and overtime. That's a tough one to take. Good news for Catholic Central. They're back at it on Friday as they'll travel to West Ottawa. I will not have that game for you on Cougar Puck Radio, but we'll be tracking it, certainly on the Michigan High School Hockey Hub, as Catholic Central plays for the 4th time in 8 days. Boy, this one, they thought they had it. Could have been a storybook ending with Caleb McLean scoring his first varsity goal to put them ahead 2-1. But the Cougars concede an extra attacker goal, scored by Shane Bourne, and then after holding Serba in check for essentially the entire game, the top gun for Sparta gets the job done in sudden death. That'll do it for us from Southside Ice Arena. Thank you for watching as the Cougars and the Spartans salute their fans. We'll have a prayer at center ice as well here as the proceedings wrap up. So I'll say good night, God bless, and have a great rest of your week. Final score in overtime, Sparta 3, Catholic Central 2.